Welcome to Ask the Edmonds Cop. I'm Teresa Whipple, and today we have a very special guest. Welcome, Sergeant Josh McClure.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We have invited Sergeant McClure into the studio because we're going to talk about hiring, and that's something that you're in charge of.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of openings, am I understanding, that are coming up in the next year or so on the Edmonds Police Department.
Yeah, we're doing all right now, but in anticipation of 2017, we could have anywhere from 3 to 8 positions that come open. And the hiring process is not short. It's a very involved process, and so we'd like to try to get the ball rolling ahead of time in anticipation of those openings.
Okay. And you know, one thing we talked about earlier that I was very impressed with was how long it does take you to find an officer, and that's because you go through a really thorough process. And one of the things that I had heard about was that in some parts of the U.S., officers who may have had a problem in a city and end up somewhere else, that's something that you really work to guard against, because you go to the city and you interview people who know the officer and all that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and no process is flawless, and we had our mistakes as well. But we do have a team of officers that are assigned to be background investigators. If there's a candidate that comes from another agency, or even an entry-level candidate who's from out of state, we will send an investigator to that state to interview the people closest to them in that area. Okay. For experienced officers, we'll go right to their previous agency and start uncovering information about them to make sure that they're going to come here and represent the city of Edmonds in the most professional way possible.
Great. And what kinds of qualities are you looking for in an officer?
For our community, the number one thing that we would ask for is customer service. And, if you're an entry-level officer and you've only ever worked at Dairy Queen, helping people at the window, that's no big deal, because you've had face-to-face interaction with people that need service. If you've worked at a Fortune 500 company handling million-dollar deals, but you've had to do customer service, well, then that works too. But in our line of work, you're going to get sent to multiple different locations, whether it be someone's house or the middle of a parking lot or in the front of a bar, and you're going to have to serve the customer, whether that means take somebody into custody or take a witness statement or be there for the victim of a crime. Those are all our customers, and we have to serve them appropriately.
Right, and you and I were talking about the fact that especially in this latest generation of potential officer candidates, they've grown up with digital media and may not necessarily be as used to face-to-face.
Right. Face-to-face communication has been the number one hurdle for our candidates that are coming out of the college generation that we have now. Mm-hmm. With everything being able to be done via text or online, people are not comfortable going into a face-to-face situation and solving a problem. Usually it's done via text or a Snapchat or whatever it is today. Yeah. But to go into a situation, you may be in someone's home and you have to defuse a very volatile situation. And so that's where we've had a biggest struggle with our recruits. Now, we've been able to overcome it a lot with training and opportunities in that sense. But it has been something that we've been very cognizant of as we go through the background process.
Right. And what are there's some misconceptions I think people might have about coming to work in Edmonds. Is it's this sleepy, you were talking about volatile situations, it's this sleepy little town here and we don't have any problems, right? So yeah, that's not true.
No, not a sleepy little town. We're 40,000 people, and our next door neighbor of Linwood is another 40,000 or just under. And our neighbors to the south in Shoreline, they're 50,000 people. And between all of us, we're less than 3 miles away from the city of Seattle, and we're less than a mile off I-5.
Right.
So, we've got a lot of big city issues that are in our, urban area here, if you will. Even though we have a lot of cities, and you would think Edmonds is this postcard, picturesque town with a ferry boat and a seagull and all that good stuff. There's stuff that happens downtown that happens on the Highway 99. The same type of stuff can happen. Right. And our patrol officers do a great job, sometimes with 4 officers covering the entire city, of providing a safe environment for our citizens.
Okay. We will be posting on the screen, contact information for how people can learn more about the hiring process, but what else did you want to mention?
The process, it does take time. It takes, anywhere from 3 to 5 months, kind of depending on the candidate and the process. Starting from the time of your initial interview, all the way through the polygraph and the background investigation and a psychological and a medical assessment. That all takes time, and schedules have to be met to get that stuff done. But if you're interested, policecareers.edmondswa.gov is our website address. My contact info is going to be at the bottom of that screen. You're welcome to call me anytime.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming in today, and we'll be back again soon with another episode of Ask the Edmonds Cop.